All right, friends, so today we're going to read another story about dragons, and it's a story that we have read earlier in the year. This story is called Kilum, and it's about dragons that get summoned or called to the king. Do you remember this story? All right, well, if you don't, that's okay because we're going to read it again. Now, before we begin, I need to teach you two words. The first word is the word I just used, summoned. Can you say summoned? Perfect. When you are summoned, that means someone wants you to come here. So if you're playing and your mom summons you, that means she wants you to come to her. Okay? Another word I want to teach you is tuckered out. Can you say tuckered out? Yeah, when you are tuckered out, you are so tired. And in this story, there are a few dragons that get tuckered out. And I want you to turn on those ears and listen for why those dragons get tuckered out. Sound good? All right, let's begin. This story is called Kilum. Kilum was one of the happiest dragons you have ever seen. Well, you've probably never seen a dragon. To tell you the truth, neither have I. Kilum was such a good-natured dragon that he seldom roared, and he never blew balls of fire. Not that he couldn't, he just didn't. Oh, so Kilum is a kind dragon. He never made roaring noises and he never blew fire. All the other dragons thought Kilum was odd. They still played with him and they loved flying with him in dragon flying class. Although they said to one another, no roaring and no blowing fireballs just didn't seem very dragon-like. When Kilum was upset about something, he said, Nella Nella, which in dragon talk means, I'm sad. When he was angry, he said, Tella, Tella, which means go away. When he was tired and grumpy, he would say, Rella, Rella, and folded his wings over his face to go to sleep. Kilum was a very articulate dragon. That means he likes to use his words. One day, a messenger brought a message from the king. The king had a problem. A giant had come to the village and plopped down right outside the village gate and simply would not budge. So let's think. Why do you think the king is going to summon or call the dragons to come to him? Right, because there's a dragon that a giant that came into the village and disturbs him. Now, the giant spoke a silly language that neither the king nor any of his people understood. The king was frustrated. He wanted the giant to leave, and the queen, who was usually quiet and serene, was very upset with the presence of the giant. So the king's message summoned or called the dragons to come blow balls of fire at the giant to make him leave. The king promised a wonderful prize to the dragon that could make the giant go away. The dragons loved the king's presence, so they flew immediately to the village. The first dragon approached the giant and roared a mighty roar. But that giant didn't even look up. The dragon sucked in a big breath and blew a huge ball of fire right at the giant. The giant reached up and batted the flame away. A second dragon joined the first, but the giant simply would not budge. He caught the fireballs and tossed them into the ocean. Soon the dragons were tuckered out and completely out of breath. So they were tired and out of breath. I wonder why. Kilum asked if he might have a turn, but the king said, no more fireballs. Kilum said, I will not use fireballs. I will use my words. The king gave permission, and Kilum approached the giant and said, Bella, Bella, Bo Bella. The giant smiled and answered, Wella, Wella, no Wella. Kilum pointed to the big mountain to the left. The giant picked him up, hugged him gently, and headed for the mountain. The whole village cheered with delight. Finally, things would return back to normal. The king handed Kilum a beautifully wrapped box. Kilum said it wasn't necessary, but the king insisted. Kilum opened his gift. What kind of gift do you think the king gave Kilum? Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. Well, guess what? Inside was a tiny horse with gossamer wings. Kilum was thrilled. He loved his new friend from the minute he saw her, and he named her Bella. Kilum and Bella lived happily ever after in the land of dragons and make-believe. The end. Let's give that story a round of applause. Awesome. So let's go back to that story, okay? So the king summoned the dragons because there was a giant in the village that was disturbing all the people. So what I want you to do is tell me below, why did the first two dragons get tuckered out? Why did they get tired? Do you remember? Let me know below.